We want to share with you today what the cloud journey that we're starting to see some of our customers on. And we want to kind of give you some background of the things we've seen happen in the industry and then how we actually might be able to help you on this journey. I wrote down cell phone up here. Right? One of the things I kind of want to anchor everybody in, this cell phone has now become an indispensable part of our business. We can't live without it, but we're also now going to pay $80 a month the rest of our lives for this cell phone. So we've kind of given up that this workload, this efficiency, this value, we're going to be buying that the rest of our business lives. Well, the same thing we're starting to see with different parts of the business, right? And now, in the past, right, we actually had our businesses connected together with MPLS networks, right? And we did that with MPLS networks to be able to bring them back to the workloads, to bring them back to our PBX, to bring them back to our email server, our CRM, right? To bring them back to come out and surf through the, our firewall to get out to the internet, right? But there's some things changing that's really changing that workload, changing this journey to the cloud, right? So let's take a look at some of that. First thing is starting to happen, change color here. First thing is starting to happen is the movement to PBX, of moving to the cloud. Today, 47% of business telephones out there are telephones registered in the cloud. So we've already, just like we've given up on our cell phone, we've given up moving our PBX services to the cloud. Whether even if you're not there today, 3 years, 5 years from now, you're going to be in cloud-based telephony services, right? Which, by the way, CBTS can support you with that. Right? So we'd love to show you some of those services. What's happening next? People have moved away from email. We as a company ourselves have moved to Office 365. Maybe you've moved to Google. But the bottom line is no longer do we want to manage the infrastructure for an email server, and we've moved that to cloud. Just like we got tired of managing a PBX and its infrastructure, we moved that email server to the cloud. Right? Same thing's happening with CRM. Right? We here at CBTS are an not only an Office 365, but a Salesforce shop. We've gotten rid of our CRM tools. We moved that to the cloud. We've moved our ERP system to the cloud. Right? And guess what? As we take a look at our other line of business applications, and we're hearing the same thing out in the field. We met with a Fortune 100 company about 6 weeks ago, and literally they talked to us about when they look at business problems today, the first thing they do is, can they figure out how to do it as software as a service? Can they buy it shrink wrapped? Or can they build it in AWS or Azure? Because again, they don't want anything in infrastructure. So we're seeing as well people moving their line of business. How do I figure out to get my applications into AWS or Azure? Well, so what do you see here though? You still have an old network, an MPLS network, that's designed to bring everybody back to headquarters, or maybe you got a backup data center. So the workloads have changed, but the network's the same. It's not particularly efficient either, right? To sit down here at my PC, come back here all the way to the firewall, and get back out to these different workloads. There's got to be a different way to handle that. So one of the things we want to show you really is a next generation network to solve this. It's literally about bringing internet access, one or two, maybe you got multiple at some of your locations, your headquarters or data center, bringing internet access to every location. At this location, dropping in a technology called SD-WAN, placing our routers with SD-WAN. And doing this on top of any internet. Okay? We have a concept, one of the things we're going to talk about here, called internet electricity. So what's internet electricity mean? We're used to having electricity coming out of our socket, right? We plug our refrigerators in, fans, our business, our home is connected to 110 volts of electricity. We get it anywhere. We expect the electricity to make workloads happen. Well, really, the world's moving to, I need internet access everywhere. And by the way, I need it cheaper. I need more bandwidth, and I need it less expensive. Well, the first thing we do in the internet world with SD-WAN is you drop the SD-WAN technology in, connect it to internet electricity, and the first thing it does for you is it builds an auto VPN. We've got to connect our sites together just like we did with MPLS. Okay? What's interesting about this, though, is you see, remember, we now moved our workloads to unified communications. We've moved our workloads to things like Office 365, AWS, or Azure. Okay? Well, what's interesting for CBTS is that we have actually placed gateways in the front of our services. So we've got a gateway in front of both our Cisco and BroadSoft Unified Communications platform. We've got gateways at 5 of the largest data centers around the country that are in front of content delivery systems of Office 365, Google, Salesforce, about 150 different workloads. We've got virtual edge devices that we can drop inside as you build your AWS or build your Azure cloud. And so literally now we take and build on top of internet electricity this next generation network. All right? But I wrote the word down applications here, and in particular, application quality of experience, quality of service, right? How do we take and guarantee that our applications can have that same quality of service? Right? What's interesting about CBTS's technology in the SD-WAN world is we literally can identify applications. We're going to say that's a voice application. And let's say even the voice application, you still have a customer premise PBX here. You haven't quite moved to the cloud yet. So you've got phones that are coming back to a PBX environment. Right? In the past, that was where you needed MPLS because we had to deliver quality of service there. Right? In this next generation network, okay, what we call an outcome-based networking. Okay, I'm going to erase the auto VPN here. Built on top of internet electricity and outcome-based networking. We literally can take an application like voice, keep track of it end to end, and literally improve quality of service. Even do it over a single internet connection. We've got technology we could show you that literally up to 40% packet loss across the internet, we can still deliver a phone call reliably end to end. So we built this next generation outcome-based network on top of internet electricity, save money, more bandwidth, and we're delivering that to you with a quality of service for an application like voice. Let's say I'm sitting at a PC, an application like Office 365. I can build a quality rule all the way to the front door of Office 365 or to the front door of Salesforce. Same thing, let's say I build custom line of business applications in Azure or AWS. Those same things. So now I can build these quality of service measures, and we call that application performance vectors. Because that's the most important thing. When we come in and talk to you, we want to talk about your applications. In the past, when we sold networks like MPLS, right, we didn't care that much. We cared, but you kind of just gave us the data and we had to reliably deliver it end to end. Now as a practice, we want to come in and talk to you, what are your most important applications? What are you doing with voice? What do you need to deliver that, right? What are your software as a service applications you need to deliver? Your AWS loads, what's still back at headquarters? And so we want to come in then, build it on top of internet electricity, build an outcome-based network delivering the workloads that you need, right? Quality of service, but then do this with complete cloud control, all right? This whole layer is controlled by cloud infrastructure, right? And so consequently, we bring to you a simplicity, a flexibility, an ease of deployment, moves, adds, and changes, right? Because now you can see every single connection, you can see every performance vector, and you can see how your applications are doing. But what's next? All right? Well, one of the things that's next is a product we call Network as a Service. Some might think of it as cloud infrastructure. Okay? So what's that? Well, if you look at your location, right, if we talked about we've moved these workloads, email, your CRM, ERP applications to the cloud, you moved your voice to the cloud, right? You still have a group of equipment. You got routers, firewalls, Ethernet switches, power over Ethernet, access points, maybe cameras, and I got this across all my locations. What if instead somebody could come in and deliver all of that equipment to you as a monthly service, completely controlled from the cloud, visibility to every single port, to every access point, guest access SSIDs, firewall, unified threat management firewall rules. What if this next generation of cloud-based solutions can now even extend into your LAN? And that's what we call our network as a service. And so we build, again, this network that's based on just internet electricity, outcome-based networking with rules, application performance vectors and rules we can deliver. And then even come in and talk to you about how we can free you up from the headache of managing that local area networking infrastructure. And again, it talks about delivering to you a simplicity, a flexibility, right? An ease of deployment. You know, in the past, when you had to add a location here and bring an MPLS link and ship routers and all that, it's a 90, 120, 150 day deal. Today, now you buy inexpensive internet, we send out cookie cutter equipment, you log in, it phones home, and we're talking about making deployment, moves, adds, and changes much easier in your world. Right? And all that leads up to a predictability as well, right? What's one of the big problems that you have managing all this infrastructure is we spend some 80% of our time reactively managing the infrastructure, and maybe 20% of our time is proactive on the business problems. What if we flip that around? What if today, after all this infrastructure moving to the cloud and our help with CBTS, we can enable you to be 80% proactive and 20% worrying about the old infrastructure problems? Okay? And we feel like that's our job. And the last part we kind of want to mention to you is we also then believe security is kind of the next level of things we're moving to the cloud. And we saw this again, that Fortune 1000 company, or Fortune 100 company that I mentioned, we literally saw them move 32,000 desktops coming back to a firewall. They had an MPLS network where everything was coming back to a common firewall. They moved to Office 365, and it took a next generation, very expensive, very wide bandwidth to its knees, because 32,000 people were coming to Office 365, which was really chatty. And they literally moved to everybody going out to cloud security. So we believe that as well, cloud security is going to be the next thing. So I think what we wanted to show here to you was that what we're seeing is workloads move to the cloud, right? When they move to the cloud, the old networks don't apply, and there are new ways to look at how can I treat the internet as just internet electricity? How can I build an outcome-based network and actually take a look at all my applications and build a performance vector and keep track of those flows? And then how can I even extend that kind of value proposition into managing my local area networking infrastructure with what we saw CBTS as network as a service? Now, by the way, the wrapper to this as well is that we have a whole cloud practice that we can bring to you on how we can help you move workloads to AWS or Azure, or make decisions what workloads you want to move to software as a service. And so as well, we have a whole consulting practice, if you would, that wraps around this offering that we'd like to come talk to you about. So we think we want to show to you today a little bit about that journey to the cloud, what we're seeing customers as these applications are moving, and how we think it's going to affect where your next generation network goes, how you look at even local area infrastructure that you need, what kind of consulting you might need, because in the end, we all need to figure out ways to save money. We need to figure out how to get more bandwidth everywhere, but we better keep track of our applications, and while you do that, you better make it simple, flexible, deployable, easy moves, adds, and changes, a predictable platform, right, to start spending 80% of your time moving your business forward as opposed to working on infrastructure.